What's up? I see folk. Oh,
What it do? What it do? We are in the building, Now on here I don't see anything, but I'm just gonna flow this thing.
yeah.
I'm gonna welcome myself back, right? And not that I'm not, a part of the Floor is Yours podcast, but I have been out of my position as I see personally. And I had to get myself together. And so I was gonna tell Gerard to play, just call it a comeback. I think that's LL Cool J, but we didn't throw that in there. But this is my comeback. So
We'll
this
get it for the outro. How about that? I
Right,
have
right, right. So this is just me getting on here, unscripted. Just we said we was gonna just do it, and I didn't want to procrastinate anymore, because this has been a long time coming. Just for me to get back out here and just do me on my own platform that's attached to what we all do collectively and together. So tonight is just a freestyle moment, transparency moment. We want you to come on in here. We're going to interact together. We're going to talk about some things. I want you to ask me some questions. And so this is just me getting back into my proper place. So Flex, what you going to do? Bring in the what they say, the intro.
Intro. Here we go, man. We got to play this.
They the Roy's new podcast, who want the smoke? Coming raw and uncut like who want this dope? Whatever you want, they for sure to cover the topic. From racial issues to fashion flies to cockpit. Y'all ain't never get it like this, cause they ain't never did it like this. We on our this the way the cookie crumbles for y'all. She gon' bring the inspiration to all. You know what's up with her. And this shit manifesting is the vision. And y'all gon' love TJ cause he the realest. From the heart of them all, they the start of it all. You looking for a high learning, holla at Gerard. The professor, another lesson coming at you with the lessons. Get your edge if you knowin' what's good for you. They educated, but they still keep it hood for you. Won't need another, this one here really do it for you. Baby, the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, I'm in the floor is yours. If it come down to the floor is yours. Let me show you how prove the floor is yours. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
All right, we back, and thank you all who are joining us right now. And I'm going to just put this on my page. That way you can come on over and join in with us for those.
Yeah, why she doing that, man? Y'all make sure y'all go like, subscribe, follow, share us on all the social media platforms. We're on YouTube. We're on LinkedIn now. We're on TikTok as well. Find us on Facebook, of course, and Instagram. So make sure you go find us on all your social media platforms and follow, like, share, let everybody know about us.
Y'all there right there. Now let me ask you a question, Flex.
What's
I share it on my page. Do I need to be on my page looking because people may be saying something and I'm not gonna see it if I'm on?
If they do, I'll monitor it, so you don't have to worry about it. I got you.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So here we go. Flex, did you send me something? I don't even remember.
No, you good. My thing is we've been talking about what you was gonna bring in. So we had a conversation the other day about people not getting so consumed with what happened in the past, right? And what you told me was like, hey, we can't get consumed with the future. With the present either. And it made me think, like, you're right. We need to be diligent where we are, making sure we're doing our, current duties like we need to be, but not at the expense of what we should be doing in the future. Did I categorize that correctly?
You did. And what it was, if we tied it all together, it was basically says that, we've gotten past our past. That no longer dominates us
Yeah.
because we've moved to the present self, which is how we've gotten to the place of facing, forgiving, and freeing ourselves. And we get past that and we get to our present self, which is a better than what we were in the past. And so as we get to this present place, now we've, grown and developed, but there's more to us. And so now we're stuck in this present place when the future is saying, come on, it's more, there's greater in you. Yeah. And so now you're at the crossroad, because it's not really a tug of war, which it can be sometimes, because we fight against it. So you're at the crossroad. Do I stay where I am and just be, hey, I'm at my best? Or do I say, hey, I have to leave this place, this environment, this setting, and maybe even a few people, and I got to go to the greater me? Because at the end of the day, the greater you is calling you. And if you don't meet the greater you, then the next person on the next level doesn't get to experience who you are. And you don't get to meet other people that'll take you to a greater place in who you are and what God is having, for your life. And so, and that's just relationship wise. You can be greater with your children. I mean, relationships, period. Because as long as you're living on this earth, you can make anything better. And sometimes we feel like when the kids get grown, that their relationship just kind of, they're grown now, but they still need us. So relationship even goes to another level. And
seems like a lot of that has to be tied to understanding your purpose. And I know you talk a lot about what your purpose is. And I remember you did this a video clip, and I'm gonna share that later on in the show. Okay. And while you talk about what the reason you're doing what you're doing, and I'm paraphrasing, but you're talking about because your kids are watching and because your mom planted it in you. Can you talk about the purpose piece of it?
And the purpose piece of it, and when I say that that my children, even at this day, even if I talk about my mom, that my mom planted it in me, so much of us is tied to our parents. And there's so much that my mom lacked from a parental perspective, because she was basically without a mother at the age of 18 months old. And my great grandmother, which I thought was my grandmother, she ended up having dementia and getting hit by a train. She was watching us. And so my mom was 26 at the time. So at that particular time, at 26, my mom didn't have a female role model. And so at 26, for me, I was the mother of 3. How about that? Yeah. And so it was trial and error. So just knowing that what my purpose was is that the more I would begin to I was doing hair. And so that's a gift and a talent that God has given me, and I've mastered it. But there was so much more just even in me being the hairstyles, because even though I was beautifying women, outwardly, I was also allowing my hands to the words that were coming out of my mouth, to be life to them, to beautify their spirits and to bring some life to broken places. Even at that time, I was broken myself, because I was like 21 starting out doing this thing. And so as you begin to keep going through life, prophetic things would be spoken over your life. And then other people would kind of say, when you would talk, like, girl, when you speak, it's just something about your energy. And you get it from women, and that's cool, because you got them sisters that's going to cheer you on. But then it started being more in the male arena, because of course I do have brothers, and I blow into them life and cheer them on. And so I knew it was for me that God was taking me to a place that I wasn't just for women. It wasn't a gender thing for me. It was a human thing, a person thing, because we all bleed red.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we all have emotions, we all cry, but we've made everything be male, female for so long that we don't do that. So me having only one son, I needed to look into, his hurts and things like that. So I just knew that God was putting me in a position, and it called me for just broken people and people that wanted to be better, and all of those different things. So thank you. The Hebrew word for man means relationship. Thank you, Joshua. So that includes us all. So here I am, just basically falling into the proper understanding of some things, and getting to a place of not being afraid to do it, and learning how to move past my emotionally fragile. Remember, I gave you that word. Yeah, emotionally fragile, because things come, and if it distracts me if I get emotionally hurt or something, it just distracts me, and I shut down. And even though I can outwardly, people will see me out, and I can be in inboxes saying stuff to people, I would be over here in my house looking like, hey, I ain't doing nothing. Ain't nobody gonna see nothing. And I'm not using proper grammar, but this is just me at times. And I was like, hey, nobody, I ain't looked like this in a long time. How about that?
Yeah.
Now, if you, huh?
I was going to say you're right, because when I connected to you, when I had the idea of starting this podcast, it was based off some of the lives and the Facebook posts that you had made, and you did, man. You came with fire, you came with passion, and one of the early conversations that I had with you, you talked about that you had been through a broken part of your life, and that passion reflected you coming out of that space and being able now to feed into other people. Can you talk about some of those past broken moments, like what broke you, if you don't mind being transparent about that?
No, and just
What
being
broke you and where
transparent. And
you
what I always say is, if you listen, even if I talk about my past, even if it's the relationship, and it's not about bashing anybody, because that's what I'm doing, but I'm
right.
talking about what I went through. And it was just the fact of, my I didn't get married my last marriage, because I'm divorced for 2 years, and me and him we're friends. We really are. And the thing about it is, it's just that we were in a place of, where there was still some brokenness and still some healing that needed to take place, and we just didn't meet where God would want us to meet with with each other. And when that happens, it doesn't draw you together, it pushes you apart, because we're not listening to one another, or one is being offended, or one feels attacked. And so much of that just began to just be that. And then denominational, barriers can come up. And when it does, it makes you you reserve yourself in certain areas that you want to be free in, but you want to respect who you're attached to. And so those things will begin to make you, kind of be in this compromised position, or you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're not a free spirit, you turn into this caged bird. And it would take me a long time to want to talk about it, because then still I didn't want to, to offend. Even if I had to talk about what was now in the past, it was still a part of my journey, and it
Yeah.
would help somebody else along the way. And so many times we'll just shut down, and I'm not the only one. People do it, but we just don't talk about it. Because once, just to be honest, we say that things don't bother us when people have things to say, and we'll put on these tough personas, like, what, honey, this is what it is. But
Yeah.
internally, it does bother us. And internally, it stresses us out. And people don't think it does, but it do. Watch how weight don't move. Watch how you don't sleep well. Your eating habits is off. Sometimes you ain't even drinking water like you should through the day. Before you know it, you ain't even had but eight ounces of water, child, and you done needed at least 8 times the 8, right? And so those
Mm-hmm.
things. And then I got to a place where I began to, this word hit me, and it may sound crazy, but inadequate. And not inadequate in a bad way, but it was a way that, because I've always tended to people all of my life. And that was even my mother. At times I felt like I was my mom's mom. And when I was younger, and there were things that you provide, being there for the children, being there for your mates, being there for other people. And when it got to the place where I had been through a divorce, I was now back by myself. Of course, no relationship, no one living with me. My daughter's in college, and I had no activities. So I began to feel like I was inadequate, because I had nobody to tend to. But at the same time, it was fearful, because I had to learn to tend to myself.
Oh man.
And
And
go ahead.
still you saying tend to yourself, and what you said earlier, still walk around like you had it all together, all figured out, like you had it together.
Oh, wait, let me tell you something. Over here, like, hey, it's I see today. What are you doing? And loving on you, giving you this light, you my radiant flower. But then all this turns off, and you wipe off the lipstick, and here you go, and your mind is, wearing you out. You're here by yourself. If something happens, what are you going to do? Just all of these different things. How do you keep moving to know that you got something, that you do this and the other.
Yeah.
So because I just, could go to work and just put on some leggings and a t-shirt, I could still look decent with that. But I wasn't in a place of momentum anymore. I had a slight pulse, just a slight one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had to check my vitals. I was living, but I was breathing,
Yeah.
but I wasn't living. And I began to just exist again in the perimeters of my home.
Wow.
Every now and then I would do, go places, or, try to be around people, just to kind of save face and not be here. And then it just got me to a place where I had to begin to dig deep and face myself. And then there were things that would come up that I didn't really think about, because what happens is triggers come. And so many times I was thinking that I had released everything, but honestly, I had suppressed.
Yeah.
And
Listen.
suppressing was the fact that if something came up to remind me, I remember, like, it was just 2 weeks ago. I was sitting on the bed, and when I was younger, I had children, and one of my children's fathers said these words, and they came back up, and I forgot he even said it. He was like, "You gonna be just like your mama. with 3 kids and by yourself. And I was like, so you don't even remember, you don't even think about the things that were spoken years and years ago, that they come back and hit you in your face, and then it begins to like put this little seed off in you, and you're like, oh, am I gonna be like her?
So did that anger you, or did that motivate you?
Now, when I heard it this time,
yeah, like originally,
even back then, I was like, whatever. But now, when I heard that, I was like, oh, he alive. You know what I'm saying? And basically, the devil uses who he made to say things. And even though we were younger then, it was still a seed that was planted there. And I still thrive, and I'm still thriving now. But it's just the fact that it surfaced as if that it was like, you, girl, you've been holding that in, and you didn't even realize. And so then the devil tries to work on that, because look at you now, you are over here, you are over here, you know. And so I looked at that and I was like, no. And then the biggest thing, well, a couple more things happened. Some other things that I normally talk to you about, you know, someone that used to be, you know, in the circle, you know, around me, you know, came viciously with her mouth and was saying some things, but I know how to hold my ground. And I don't do that to be cocky, but I'm not going to let you just walk over me because I'm in a new place in my life, or a better place within myself, that you think that you could come to me in the manner that she did. And so for me, I didn't cuss back, but I said what I needed to in that manner. And that's still not being cocky about that, but that's just saying, you know, you have the right to stand up for yourself and say things. And even when you think, you know, some people, you know, are really made care for you, they really don't. Because in the end, if they could utter something out of their mouth towards you, they've been feeling that way a long time. I let that go. Deal with it, let it go. And then the last thing that really was just really began to just take a big latch on me was the fact that somebody had tried to take my identity and put it out on a platform and use it in the manner in which they're choosing to use it, which is, you know, pretty nasty, pretty gutter, you know. I'm just saying, real, right? And it bothered me for the last 7 months. And if people paid attention, I was not talking on my page. Now I would probably put a video out there, you know, something to make you laugh, you know, talking about these apples, or, you know, something that somebody had given me, right? I was like, okay. I put it out there in January, and I think the way I wrote it, people were, you know, they kind of laughed at it or whatever, and maybe some did report it, but it's just who I am, how I am, you know. Hey, whatever weed they on, that's just, you know, me, my laughing, right? But it began to stay up. And this page has 4,000 people. They don't know me. They just know my pictures, but they know that person's, you know, personality, or whoever they over there.
Hey, do you mind, just for the people that watched it, we can kind of paint the picture what it was? So it was someone that made a fake Facebook page.
Yeah.
Put your pictures on there, and they're out saying all kinds of like nasty things. Do you mind sharing that with the audience so they'll know?
Oh yeah, her name. Well, I ain't gonna say her, but the name is Gabby. It's somebody behind Gabby, right? And so this page is out there. There's 4,000 people over there. Gabby, the presentation of Gabby, the personality behind Gabby, let's say it that way. Bisexual, trisexual, any sexual, just everything over there. Portraying themselves, saying that they're a nurse in Oklahoma City. They are divorced, but it's God and family. Pictures of me and my children, God, baby, just things. So they had to be either somebody on my page or just some things that were open pictures back in the day. And they just saved them, and they just began to, you know, to use them, you know, and just, you know, bring on this audience or whatever. And then talk about, you know, stuff in spaghetti, you know, just nasty stuff, you know, under women's clothes, and then even messing with other people and putting them out there for people to go push traffic over there. And I was able to get a hold of some people, and they were like, well, it didn't make sense. And then I just began to make videos, and anytime I could see anything that was open, I would reach out to those people, and I would basically tell them, you know, hey, my name is not Gabby, my name is Amisha. But the disheartening part is that we have a culture that gets caught up in the looks, and we just start following people and don't even know this. And then you have other people trying to tell you, hey, this is a catfish page, and you know, they just continue on, but they never did, you know, befriend anybody in the Texarkana area or any of my, you know, friends on my list, because I do believe it's private. But it was more so in the Edmond, Oklahoma area. And I had to really get to a place, because there would be times I would be getting mad, you know, my Mother's Day picture, you know, and I'm like, what? And the only time that was on my Instagram, and I began to now get in this box. I wasn't sharing no pictures. I wasn't posting nothing because I was like, no. But then I had to really sit back and think, you got people with way more followers than me and that are doing more in the earth, their purpose and everything. And they're running across these same thing. Well, Jesus got it, went through this thing too, right?
So was it out of anger or was it hurt, embarrassment? What made you stop sharing? Like what emotion was that?
It was probably a collective. I don't think I was embarrassed. I think I was more because I'm gonna stop doing this little tittle-tattle. I was more pissed off than anything.
Yeah.
Because here you were coming for me, and it was like, why would somebody, want to do that? But obviously they did it because, hey, they don't care for me, or maybe they like me. I don't know, but anything to just do what they wanted to do. And then and a part of me was fearful at times because, of course, if your picture's out here, you run across people you don't really know, they time I run up on me, talking about Gabby. No, I'm not Gabby. And the only way I found out is because my oldest brother saw it and he called me and he's like, Gabby. I'm like, dude, my name ain't Gabby. And that's how that started. And so that was that. And then it made me, I did get angry because then it was my children that were involved. Nothing that they were saying ugly about them. It would just be like, oh, this is family time. Well, what?
Yeah.
No. And so that was that. And then I would find myself getting up at night or just steady going over there trying to see what was said or anything. Most of the stuff would be private, but anybody that reached out to me from that page would always say, well, this is what she's doing. And we even went live with one of them because this person never went live when they were wanting to. So there was never like physical, I'm talking live to the people. Yeah. And it really took a toll. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't want this.
Yeah. So you had the issue, challenge from the relationship, just figure out where you're going next. And then this Gabby thing sounded like it was a low point of your life, maybe. So what made you figure like, hey, I gotta move. I gotta do something. Because you talk a lot about moving. Right. So what brought you to that point?
So what happened is I talked to my children a lot. And behind the scenes, my son is doing so much. Like even tonight before we got on here, because he started doing a podcast and he was a little nervous behind it, he's been invited to another podcast that's like on a bigger platform, all because he talked about entrepreneurship or basically being on the internet or something like that about social media. And now he's got this invitation to go there. Well, my children always pour into me, and then it was just like other people when they didn't know what I was going with behind closed doors, but it was people that God was using that didn't know me or they knew me, but we didn't talk all the time, and they were pouring into me. And it was just a reminder that God was saying, I got more for you to do. And so the trigger part was just like, my brother, put this out here. And then there was steady just the feedback of like, there was no violation. And so my thing is, I would always get to it was this revelation. Here you are again. You're on your weight loss journey. You're stuck at 180. And he showed me this was a 3-year cycle for the last 3 years. You get here and you stop. But through the last 3 years, I have been dealing with emotional distractions. So here I was again, distracted. So this was a distraction yet again. How about that? And it was one of the biggest ones I've ever had as far as being out in an open platform, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, I wasn't prepared for that, right?
Yeah.
However, looking at it now, if I'm going to the future me, I have to be now emotionally balanced.
Yeah.
To be able to know that things are going to come tougher.
Yeah.
Than what it is, right? Yeah. And I'm going to have to still get in front of this screen and wherever God has taken me in the presence of people to still be able to stand strong, even if I read a comment that's not going to be right. So is it maybe, and then just I normally do delete the comment because so many times we'll feed into it because we'll go back and we'll read it. So I had to learn that now I no longer want to be in that place of emotionally fragile, right?
Yeah.
My brother talked to me. He was like, who is the new you? That was a wake-up call. He was like, because at the end of the day, he's like, you've really been unhappy for the last 3 years.
Hey, before we move to that point, because I know this video that I was going to share, I think it talks about your transition to that point. So let me share this short video real quick, and then we'll let you flow into.
And I love all the ones that were saying, hey, I couldn't say that I was talking, but hey, folks.
Yeah, talk to them. Yeah, talk to the people while we're
he's getting that ready Teresa, thank you so much. My voice is needed, and I do believe that the purpose of my life is my voice. And so if the voice can be snuffed out, which I used to be called the Pathon spirit, which is about, taking the breath of life out of you, the Holy Spirit. And but I'm wrecking this thing.
All right, well, here we go. We're going to share this video just to set up. You went live in your vehicle a few months ago, and I just took part of the video and added some music to it just for, emotional effect. So we'll play this video and then we'll come back and talk about it.
You got it.
And I am in a place and a position that I am in the freest place of my life, in my mind and in the place that God is taking me. I am no longer afraid. I am no longer confined, and I am no longer bound by the opinion and the thoughts of others. Because truth be told, sometimes we won't even be truthful about that, because at times it does still bother us. Okay, I'm gonna start right there. So when you begin to be free, I have learned that I will deal with it in the now, and I will address it in the moment, and I will let it go after that. And when I let it go, I will now proceed forward and not give an emotion to something that I will not let take root in my life. I will not let fear or discourage me. As a mother, I have learned to be transparent and open with my children, to even know that I know that there's something greater than even where I am, to be 47 years old and have raised them, and to be honest to them that I was uncertain of the unknown, and I began to be a little fearful of what the next chapter would be. But when your seeds come back and tell you, you still have to do it afraid, and you still have to move forward in spite of, because you gotta always remember your why. Well, my why is because somebody else needs me. My why is because my children need me. My why is because my mama planted it in me in birth. My reason why is because God said that I was worthy to be able to do this thing. And I must, in the words of my sister Transportee, I must move now. I must continue to be the light. I must continue to be love and inspiration and all of these different things, because I must live and not die.
Let me tell you.
Every time I see that video, man, I'm over here like, hold it together, G-Rod.
Let me tell you something. A while ago, I was over here. I was just repeating. I'm like, I'm saying it with him, right? I must, my children, somebody else, because my mama put it in me, and God said that I was worthy of this, and I must, because I will live and not die. That part right there. If I had a faint pulse, something was dying, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not dying with all this in me, right?
Yeah.
And so it was even the part when it was like afraid of the unknown, right? I had to just literally get here and talk to God, because we always say, well, God knows, but God need to hear it too. I got to the place I just started saying, Lord, I was afraid. Lord, I stepped out of my position. Lord, I bowed down to fear. And this is where I was. And I'm like, but no more. And I began to say all of these things. And this was just 2 days ago. And when my brother called me, I was like, you know what? If they never take Gabby down, if they never do anything to the page, what am I going to do? I got to move forward, because I must. I got to move forward because somebody needs me, right? I got to do it because my children, they doing some things. And I said, we're going to do great things together. Me and my seeds will shake up the earth, huh? Me and my seeds will make sure that legacies will be left, because we chose to be the Fruit Loops in a world full of Cheerios. You hear what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I want to be intimidated in the best way. And when I say to people, like, don't say it, you want to be intimidated. No. If you don't intimidate me to be better, we ain't really got nothing to talk about. We ain't really got to hang out. Intimidate me to pull from a place that I've never pulled from, huh? Because at the end of the day, there's something much greater in all of us. And in order to get that means if you to be successful, people don't want you to be that. It's like a crime to want to be greater than what you is. I have learned to get a mentor, and I love my mentor, very, very brand. I've never invested money into myself to learn, to listen, to absorb, right? We go to church and we get there. We go. I ain't gonna really say we go for free, but anyway, we pay our tithes. Some people may say they paying in, but I'm just saying that's my joke. Don't take that too serious. But I'm just saying, to invest in myself. I've learned that my energy is what in people, or you can say anointing. Energy anointing is what draws people to want to come in and to hear what God has set off in me to say. So I told God, reignite the well in my womb so that I begin to flow again like you said that I should. Now that video done got me stirred up. I'm just saying. I'm like, girl, you better come back and be that vibrant flower. You, even though your color was fading, I'm glad my fragrance was still there. I'm glad my energy and my power still resided within me. But I had enough to say, I surrender to all that had happened, and I release it. Let's say that I release it. But I go back to the God who said what I was. I go back to look at the things that when I first left here 10 years ago, and when I left, there were women that wrote in this book. It was 100 women in the Bible, and they had spoke so much life into my life, seeing what I was. And this was over. As a matter of fact, that was, we'll say 20, because I've been back 10 here. So those things. And when God can keep reminding me, he said, Misha, I won't let you forget who I said that you are in a time such as this. Esther, come on now.
Yeah.
I'm going for every Rahab. You hear me? I'm going for every woman with the issue of blood. I'm going for every woman at the well. I'm going for even some Eves around here, because, they don't get no play. Everybody look over them. But I'm going for the ones that used to be something, but they came up out of it, and people still try to keep you in that place. At the end of the day, they were used for mighty purposes in the Bible. So I guess I was one of them. So I guess I'm over here, and he gonna use me too, huh?
So how do you break away from those people? Because what I've learned is that there are some people that genuinely love you, and there are some people that don't. But either way, they can love you or not love you, but they love where you are, and they don't want to see you leave where they are. So they're stuck where they are, and they attach on to you. So how do you get out of those spaces?
So I'm learning this too. I'm learning that you can still stay attached if you're willing to go up. But that doesn't mean I don't love you if I got to leave you there, because that means right now we're just not on the same page. But that doesn't mean that I'm any greater than you. Yeah. I just know that I got to get to the next place. You hear what I'm saying? So that don't mean if I say, baby, if I leave Texarkana tomorrow, that don't mean that I didn't want to still love the people that there, but that was something else I had to get to. And that means, honey, pick up the phone and still call, and I'm going to say, I love you. Find me online, because that's where I'm going to be. I'm just saying we have to learn that just because the detachment comes doesn't mean that the love is disconnected.
That's good. That is good. Yeah.
That doesn't mean I have friends, and for me, because she was on here, she may still be here. I haven't seen, just like really been with her in years. Tamika Turner, she reached out to me. I haven't seen her physically probably in over 20. But when we talk, or when we see one another, it's just the still of the same love that was there. That love has not changed. Nothing about me. That's still my sisters. I still love them. I'll breathe life into them. I'll be there when they need me. But taking me to being all that God is calling me to be, all of me, means I still got to keep going. And I still got to go and go and go.
Yeah, I like what Tanya said. She said it doesn't matter their perspective, it's how and where you view yourself. Absolutely. So would you agree with that?
So it was just like, no, I don't, and if people have to do the same thing, that's just like if somebody gets a promotion, even say if it was a client of mine and they got to move out of the city. Even though I love doing the hair, it was selfish of me telling my girl, I don't want you to move. But it's funny if it was in reverse and it was me having to go on. Well, who gonna do my hair?
That's good.
They may not do it like I do, but somebody could do it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just wanting to get to the greater me.
Yeah.
And the greater me, at one time I could just hear myself just being afraid. There's so much that sits in a lot of things that I have, like tablets. And then I look on some of my posts, be like, I see so many books, and I'm like, child, it's probably so many. I know it's many. You begin to agree. And so Mr. Johnson, he left 35 years ago, and they look back, right?
Yeah, Josh, man.
So here I am understanding now, really, my singleness, right? When you really understand how, Paul was saying it in the Bible, we first was over there looking like, but I get it. I'm in the freest place to be whatever he wants me to be according to his will, aligning my heart's desire with his will for my life, right? And being able to be free, not confined to anything or attached to anything that I have to give, different parts of me here and there. And just really getting into that, that place of just me and him, but more so really just being in this place of really loving and tending to Misha.
Yeah, and that's good. And I know Tranquil T, she talks a lot about freedom and the importance of it as you grow and walk in your purpose. And to your point, Paul talked about that in the scripture. He said he wished that all his brothers were single But and it wasn't that he's saying that relationships are not important.
Right.
He's not saying it, but he's saying that when you have to attend to a relationship, there is a certain responsibility and accountability is there that could pull
Absolutely.
you from your person. So purposeful for you, it sounds like you're saying you understood your purpose and the need to be free at that moment until you figure out what's next or what season is next for you.
Absolutely. And just looking at, you can look at patterns of life. So many times, many of us don't say it, but it's just the times, you get out of one and it may not even be a good year and you got to somebody else. I mean, we just sometimes we do that because there's something there's that void that we want to fulfill, or there's a part of us that we have not mastered, that it's okay to have that time of separation, to really detox yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of that. And so many times we don't get it all out, and then a little bit of it's still there, and then here we go, and then the cycle repeats itself. Maybe a new man or woman, but it's some things that will still begin to come back up, right?
And so single don't mean that you can't live your life and have fun and enjoy it. I know being single doesn't mean that you have to sit still and not enjoy your life. Right. I know you traveled and you was back and forth to Dallas, Florida, doing some other things. Can you talk about how you still making sure that you was living a fulfilled life in your single season?
So what I do now, this is gonna blow y'all mind, because I don't even talk about hair on my page. But life, this is where life is for me. I can say this. I may have to get a few credit cards, like to reestablish credit, but I ain't in no debt. Watch this, right? I got the basic necessities that I take care of, and I work 3 days a week, right? Okay, so let's watch this. 3 days a week. This week I got off Friday of last week, and I don't go back until Thursday. That means I've been out since Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So a good 4 days. And I work Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then the day opposite of work after that, then I'll go back and I'll work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Those are the only days I work. Because at this place, I've mastered understanding that, I make money and all of these different things, but my freedom is my wealth. How about that? My freedom is what's going to bring the wealth. And me being able to move like I need to, if I need to go see my children, I learned that all those years that I made sure everybody looked good for their children and different for proms and all of this. And sometimes I'm going to see my kids with hair up under my fingers and may have been some in my teeth. I don't really know. Or other people were doing that for me. But then in the end, as it began to go down, I began to do more time where I would take off. But now I'm in a place that literally, if I want to go, I can just give me a ticket and I'm out of here. If I want to, just be in my house, because I pay to live here, and they need to see me quite a bit, because if this is where I live, it needs to know that I'm coming home to it. And even though it's just me, I'm opening up these curtains, and these curtains, gonna say, girl, thank you for opening me up, and the blinds happy that the sunlight came in. I love being single and travel, but I realize when you're single and move around too much, people still have something to say, and they do. And honestly, even when I move around, I had stopped letting people know I was moving around. They didn't know if I was influenced, unless somebody shared a picture that I was with, or if I was with my children, I would probably do it when I got back home. But then, of course, I did shut down on doing that because of the way I felt about that. You gonna tweet that, baby? Freedom is wealth. That's where the wealth come from. Your freedom is your wealth, baby. I don't need wealth to bring me freedom. My freedom is the wealth. I learned that through my mentor. She called like that because somebody asked, because that's how she worded it, and her mentor worded it back to her. And so this single thing is not, it's not bad at all. That doesn't mean that I'm alone and I'm lonely. Not by far. Because what I've learned to do is, I've learned to enjoy my own company. Now there are times, girl, that I'll be over here talking to, and I got to laugh at the TV by myself and, hit some stuff. Now some of y'all can be a witness, don't play. Call me. Still do that because ain't nobody home with you, and you be over there just laughing because it's a show you really like. So those are the things. Or then they be saying, girl, you be talking to yourself. We all got multiple personalities. Let's just be real about that. I want y'all to be real. If you in the car, you talking about, girl, what I'm gonna eat on. Ooh, Gerard talking about, man, I'm hungry. What I'm gonna get? Then you'll be over there talking, I'm gonna go get this chicken. Who you talking to? Your other alter ego. I'm just saying,
they say as long as you don't answer back, they say
we really do answer back. You like, girl, we going to get this chicken. How about that? So I learned to laugh at myself in these moments and just be like, whatever, go past the mirror, and when I put my clothes on, because ain't nobody over here to tell me, girl, you looking a look, look thick, or you looking good. I'll be doing my side. I said, girl, It's a small role, but you need to work on. Because who else gonna tell me? Because some
Yeah.
of y'all
But
don't
here's the thing, though. So you're talking about living and enjoying life in your season of singleness, but that doesn't extinguish the desire for companionship, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay.
What I'm learning is we have been taught to write this list out. If I had a piece of paper, I'm gonna tell you what some of y'all need to do. Hold on. Look, y'all, I'm over here with some props tonight. I'm gonna grab a piece of paper. We've been talking, write these lists out, baby. Here's what you need to do. You need to clear it up. I heard something tonight, and it was one of my preacher friends. I would look out at Oklahoma. He was like, I'm talking about my heart's desire. Well, if my heart's desire ain't lining up with your will for my life, something ain't right. Because it says, I know. He said he know the plan that he got for me, and he been knowing me from me and my mama's womb, right? And here we are, we just telling him what we want and all this, and he said, that ain't even what I got. But this is what you're wanting, right? And I'm like, so here we go. All these people, we be just looking like it's oh so good in this, like what happened to them, but who now do we blame God for it, or do we blame ourselves because we wrote the list? So when I heard him say that tonight, even if it's my heart's desire, God, let it line up with the will that you have for my life, the will and the plan. Because I feel like you gonna flow with one another, and you gonna come in and you gonna balance, and if you ain't a big laugher and I am, it's gonna be something eventually you're gonna start being tickled by something I got to say about you. And even if it ain't just laugh to let me know, girl, my baby is a part-time comedian, whatever the case may be. If he can't cook and I got to throw a little salt on there and just to say, baby, it was all right. Just learning wisdom through this thing now. Because the marriage is really not about the love. The marriage is about the wisdom that you guys have to understand one another, and I'm learning all this stuff now, and really wanting to know better so that you do better. And just because something doesn't work with a person, that doesn't make that person the bad person, or
that's unfair.
That they're just that's just so wrong. Because if anything, we do all play a part in something. We didn't get to this common ground.
Hey, can you talk about the single seasons? Like we talk about seasons in different aspects, not just relationships, but careers and whatnot. And I think if we see our life in seasons, that we'll understand that where we are is not the be all end all. And it helps us to, what I tell people to do is observe the season. When we're in summer, it doesn't go from summer to winter. It goes from summer to fall. So it's that transition season that you need to observe so you'll understand where you're going. And I know you talked about understanding the season you're in so you can make sure that you're not all over the place, still walking in your purpose.
Right. So this, because I'm gonna be did I really grasp my single season? That's what I really want to, if you had to ask myself, but sometimes we don't ask ourselves the question, what did I miss before? Because I've been per se single before. Was I single attached to too many things? How about that? And so now being single, attached and not being attached to anything, as far as like dating or anything like that, it's just me, like for real though, me and the presence of the Holy Spirit and all. Don't let me, I ain't saying all that, but those things. So I'm really taking this time to really, what they say, scuba dive a little bit deeper than I did the other times. How about that? Yeah. I'm going deeper into understanding and really, absorbing what I can in this time and in this season, and doing what I need to do until, the person that God has for me comes along, Yeah. And then that way, not only am I prepared for where I'm, where I am and going, it's gonna meet up and match up with who I'm gonna be with. And it'll just be like a key in a lock. It'll just be just that. It'll click. You know what I'm saying? And so just learning to strip off layers, because it's amazing that you said the seasons, because spring is when things begin to start budding, and then summer, it's just out here full blazed hot at different things. We're sweating, we're dropping off some pounds. And then if you look at fall, some things begin to shed too, because the leaves fall off the trees, and it looks like there's a barren season, but really there's things that are going into hibernation to be able to come back and bud again, right? And butter, either that tree remains strong, doing everything that's going on, and then once the season comes back to boom again, it begins to bud. And some trees don't come back, and that means if that tree doesn't come back to life or that plant doesn't show up, what would inside that person died and was not reignited, or the root was still left there and it snuffed life out of you. Now I just got that.
That's good. That's good. So if you know your name is IC40, you inspire a lot. So what can you tell your listeners, your followers to do, or how can you inspire them in their season of singleness to, walk upright? Because they say, hey, being married comes with standards, but being single has standards too. It doesn't give us the if you follow your worldview, it doesn't give you the ability or the okay to do what you want to do.
Right, because even being single, they'll say you're out here with everybody. You know what I'm saying? And child, you just have to let them roll off for you till you be like, really? I've been there. But what I would say is this: if you don't do anything else, I need you to do personal rehab. I need you to go in the silent chambers of you. Now, is it gonna be cute? It's gonna get real, real, real ugly. And this ain't just female. I ain't talking about to the female. I'm talking about to the human, right? You're gonna really have to face yourself, and you're gonna have to ask yourself questions, and you're gonna have to answer those questions, because sometimes they give you like these yes or no. And I had got to the point I wasn't doing yes or no. I was doing 98 so I guess that felt better to say that, I need a little bit, I got to work on something. Well, really it just was no. But I want to still compromise with that. Yeah, I just got a little bit to work on over. No, baby, you just need to work on it. And so really be real with yourself. Go in and say what hurt. I had to get to the place that I had to really release it all. And I had to really face it. This hurt. It didn't feel good. I wasn't expecting, or it wasn't I didn't plan to, be divorced again. I didn't plan to think I would be 47, starting over. I didn't think at 47, after I raised my children, that I would, have to realize that I would never really tended to myself, even though I put on the nicest clothes and look nice and smell good. Internally, I was not really taking care of me because I was tending to everybody else. And then not going back down the same pattern of just feeling like let the emotions take over, or staying attached to things, just because you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings by saying, really this chapter is over. So what we do is we kind of linger around, and it's still that open door portal when it should be shut down. So I had to just get to the place that you need to get to, a place that you just release every part of you, internally, mentally, emotionally, physically. You just release it to God. And you say, you know what? This is how it was. But no longer do I live in that place. I choose to be a clean canvas again, so that you, Lord God, can paint this portrait, the original blueprint on which you would have it to be from the birth, from my mother's womb, and the plan that you have for me in the beginning of time. Forgive me for the times that I've altered it or tried to do it my way. But at this particular point in time, I surrender to your will. And most of the time, we don't want to say his will, because really, if it's his will and it ain't really what we want, then we're going to kind of be like, looking, to the side. Yeah. But if anything, I would just say, just be true to you. Be free in every area of your life. And when I say that means detach, unplug, uproot, let it go. And sometimes that's going to even be some people that you don't roll with for a long time. Yeah. And that's not the fact that they're not, that you don't love them. It's just that now where you're going, they're not a part of that process. But internally being single, trust the process, and don't feel that you got to have somebody calling you on the other end, putting a little sweet and whatnots in your ear, because that way somebody's giving you that little warm spot. If I would say anything, find you some motivational soundtracks. I do that now, that feed me on where I want to go, and where I want, and the places that I want to get greater in, and places that I want to be released from. But me, I'm going for all of me this go around, and going for all of me is going to bring everything that is supposed to be with me.
That's good. So what you got to say to the brothers out there who are looking for a relationship? If you had to tell the brothers, like, hey, this is what women are looking for, what advice can you tell our men?
It will be the same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah. Because I have a son, and I realized that my son struggled with relationships, because at times he didn't know what that looked like from my end. I'll say that. Now, he may have seen it. He's definitely seen it from his fathers. Now, That don't mean he was always healthy. But not knowing what your mother go through, because he didn't live with me anymore. He wasn't in my house with my husband, anything like that. But what he did know, something came to an end, and his mother was here. So I always use the scenario of the plant. It can live and it can die both ways. Too much water, too much sunlight, too much fertilizer, or not enough sunlight, not enough water, not enough fertilizer. You got to find a balance with anything. But the biggest balance is finding a balance within yourself, huh?
Yeah, that's
so
good.
I have learned to ground, I'm getting in touch with the power that I possess. But I'm learning not to be a wire that's not grounded, that's not connected to a source. Because when it's not connected, that wire is everywhere. And with it being everywhere, it can cause a lot of damage. It can destroy a lot of things, and it can destroy us. But if I ground it correctly and know how to, compress, to internalize and keep it where it needs to be, then I properly and effectively give out the energy that's going to draw what's needed in every area of my life. You
said grounded. So you kind of alluded to it. Grounded is in the Lord. So can you talk about if there had been periods where you were not grounded and you was trying to move forward versus when you were grounded, and how different those periods?
Let me give you the real. Yeah, I was not grounded for a whole year. When I say that, and this was even this past year, I wasn't in my Bible, but I had something in me, right? I wasn't out here, getting up every day praying. Because let's just be honest, sometimes we don't do that. But because people see us we were living for the Lord, but that don't mean we always do it. We just don't. There's times we just get to that place that we're not in position, and I wasn't in position, because had I been, guess what I would have been? I would have been more alive, talking, and all of those different things. And then you can look at, because you weren't grounded, because I was sitting in that sulling place, or that broken place, or that place of, this ain't, everything is not, everything, I was in obscurity. Everything was all over the place.
Yeah.
And nobody didn't have to see it. So all I would have to do, we can just, what they say, pimp it through presentation. Just get up here and be like, because it's in you. And the Lord, he don't take the anointing from you. It's on you. It's just there. Now he'll leave you if you just go to a reprobate mind, but he was still pulling on me. He didn't leave me. I just wasn't sitting over there talking to him. And he was just saying, whenever you're ready, and when you get grounded again, you know what to come back to. And when you do, I'm gonna be right here waiting for you to say, you know what, girl, I've been waiting to sprinkle you with some new.
Yeah.
But I needed you to first come to me and talk about it. Because even though the Lord know, he wanted me to tell you, Lord, I know I ain't been right, And it got to the point, it would be times my kids, I'd be cussing. But I don't think, I didn't think ass would be too bad, whatever the case may be. But, then, Jay here, I could talk to Jay too. So, and I'd laugh. But it would be times, and even with that, we talk a lot. And at the end of the day, she would say, I miss my friend. And so then I was honest with her where I was and in the place, but she felt it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she allowed me that time, to be to myself. And that's what matters, is when people allow you to do that. But then you real with them, just because I ain't call you, tell me, have you forgot about me? No, I didn't forget about you. But I start doing like this. I'm tending to me.
Tending to you. Self-care, rehab, all that.
Yeah. Self-care is more than just your fingernail and your hair and your pedicure and your body being snatched.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing like being, I have it all that together. And at the end of the day, baby, you ain't got a fight in you. You ain't got a word in you. You ain't got nothing to pull you up when you at your lowest point, or you don't even know how to cry out. Self-care is when your mind is all over the place, you double-minded, or your mind is whooping you and tearing you up. Your physical body ain't got no strength to do nothing. I mean, literally. I be getting up and I play trap, gospel music, rap music when I'm up in the morning working out or whatever, because it gives me something, because they got a message. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I ain't always over here just like, rain down on me and your presence. I'll be over here, what? Yeah.
Let me find out. Hey, so not only do you inspire, but you cook. A lot of folks don't know this about you. You and I talk a lot about the dishes that you cook. And you don't do the traditional, why am I saying you don't do? I don't see that you do the traditional Southern dishes like you get creative, and I'm gonna put this up and let you talk about where you receive your inspiration to cook and your passion to cook. So tell us about this dish right here.
Well, that's my salmon right there. And that salmon is made with I use a McCormick, garlic, Himalaya sea salt, and black pepper. And then I put a little bit of kicking chicken, which is going to give me a little bit of heat and spice to that, right? I use about 2 pats of butter, cut it up, put it on there. I squeeze lemon juice, and it is also brown sugar that is on there. And I put it in the oven for about maybe 25, 30 minutes and 30 or 35 minutes on about 425. And I let that cook. I don't like meals that take hours. So my inspiration is that, I do collard greens in 15 minutes. Cabbage I can steam in 15 minutes. About shrimp boil, stuff like that. I'm always gonna come up with something. So I've just recently started getting to more learning plant-based dishes. Not that I won't have some meat, but I have learned to do cauliflower rice and put black beans, red bell peppers, and garlic and parsley and all this good stuff. And that's made with under under 30 minutes. So I just have done that. And just wanting to do things differently, understanding where your nutritional value lies within your food. So that's why I don't really boil collard greens and I don't really boil cabbage. Now, if people fry it, I'm gonna eat it. I'll eat it at your house. But it does make it a little difficult for me going out or even attending certain things, because like I used to love barbecue, but then the more I thought about how I was eating some of it and my throat be burned, I'm like, is that wood? The lighter fluid? I mean, you just be trying to think of different ways. But yeah, that's what I do behind closed doors, because I do understand more than my body is the temple. The body can heal itself if we're doing the proper things that we need to do to assist in allowing that to happen and to transpire within ourselves. And so my mind,
I like what your mom said, how food heals. And we know just in our community traditionally, we link up on Sundays and we have Sunday dinners. I mean, you name us a situation where we get together and there's always good food there. So I think there's, to her point, it heals. I think there's something therapeutic about breaking bread over food while we're talking and discussing and loving each other.
Right. And so if my friend speaks it, I'll go over there. I may not get a big old scooping of food, but what I do is I get enough portion size on my plate to eat. And if I want a little bit more, I'll go back. I have learned that for sure. Yeah. To be honest, some of y'all probably need to learn it, because y'all go to people's house and y'all don't really like something, and y'all done got a whole tablespoon or 2 heapings of something and put it in your mouth and don't like it, and there you is trying to play over it. Like you want to eat it, but you really want to throw it in the trash. Just get them taste everything first. Small portions, okay? That's a nugget for tonight.
Hey, so we're getting ready to wrap up, but we got these questions that I like to ask everybody just to help the followers get more in tune with them. So I'm about to get in your business a little bit.
Oh.
So these are about some personal preferences. So you tell me which one, catfish or tilapia?
Neither. Well, yeah, neither.
Neither? So you're a salmon person.
And I'm trying to learn how to do, what is it? My whatever.
Yeah. But you don't like catfish? Like, for real? Okay.
Well, let me say this. I like the catfish that the other people don't like. So
Okay, I got you. So check this out. Sweet tea.
It gotta be a clean fillet. Let's say that. I like the white. It can't have that little gray.
Yeah. As long as it's clean good, you're gonna go with that over tilapia?
I'll go over that over tilapia.
Okay. Sweet tea or sodas?
Neither.
What? So what's your drink?
Topo Chico. I have not had soda in 10 months. I haven't had juice in 10 months. So I'm mostly water and herbal teas.
Okay. So comedian choice, Kevin Hart or Dave Chappelle?
Misha.
Right on. All right. You want hot wings or chicken strips? Chicken nuggets, I mean.
What?
Hot wings or chicken nuggets? What's your preference?
I just go with hot wings.
All right, yeah, you brought yourself back with that one. Here's the last one right here. This is gonna tell us
back.
Yeah, this is gonna tell us a lot about you right here. Family Matters or the Cosby Show? You remember Phantom Matters with Steve Urkel and all them.
Oh, well, if it's going to have to be me, I'm going with Family Matters because that's just how me and my kids operate.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Did I do that? That's
Yeah,
right.
we Fruit Loops, the Cosby, they Cheerios.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. So cool, man. It's been a good show. I appreciate you coming back. I'm gonna let you give some parting thoughts to people before we get out of here.
Well, my parting thoughts, I just want y'all to be like, I want you to be whole. And I want you to be healthy for yourself. And that's the biggest part of it. Healthy and whole. Find your happiness. Find your rhythm again, because a lot of times the heart gets irregular. And you got to find your rhythm again so that you have a strong pulse and that you can endure the race.
Yeah.
And I would say tear off everything that's going to weigh you down on you getting to the future you. Because right now, your present you, it may be good. You may be in a nice position, but there's a greater in you, and there's greater that's waiting for you. And only you know what that is. And if you don't, just spend some time with the Lord, to show you what your purpose is so that you can attach to it and line up with it. So alignment is very important in this, in this season. Yeah. And so just do that. And so at the end of the day, in order to even get to all of these places, I'm still going to run with my 3 F's. Face yourself so that you can forgive yourself, and then you can free yourself. And when you free yourself, the future is over there saying, girl, man, I've been waiting on you. Let's do this.
So what's those F's again?
Huh?
What's those 3 F's again?
The 3 F's is face yourself so that you can forgive yourself, and then you can free yourself.
Oh, wow.
And that's actually like one of my classes or, talkative points that we'll be doing privately. And it's really powerful. I've done one session, and just to watch how you have to really talk to yourself as 2 people. Trust me, Misha and Amisha have had to have a talk. And sometimes it's probably 3 of us, the little girl, the woman, and then the lady that I'm now getting introduced to. And just like with men, it's a boy, it's a man, and it's a gentleman. And so many times we just stop at the man and the woman, and we never get to the lady and the gentleman.
Oh, wow. That's powerful.
So when you're facing yourself, those things, you're going to have to go back and talk and say to yourself, hey, I did some things wrong, and I didn't always consult you when I did. And that's the emotional side. And because of that, it affected us. See what I'm talking about? I can go into that thing just like that because, it was what you have to do.
Hey, so like you're saying, there's levels to this, right?
Oh, baby, it's layers. Just like when you gain fat, it's layers to it where you can get down to that good muscle.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what I would want you all to do. And just love yourself freely. You know what I'm saying? Just tell yourself that you love you. In spite of everything that didn't go right and everything that has gone wrong, release yourself from the past if you're still there. And if you have gone past you've defeated the past and you're at your present self, then move forward, going into meeting who the future self of you, the future self that you are, and then God is wanting you to get to introduce to. So I'm looking forward to meeting all of me, honey, because when I look back, I'll be like, girl, you all right.
So that's good. That's good. So just a couple little parting thoughts on what we got coming up on the platform this Sunday. Just in a little more than a week, we got our love and relationship show. So be tapped in. We're going to be looking for IC to bring that same energy, that passion she brought tonight on her love note that she give on the show. So it's going to be a good show this Sunday at 7:00. Be sure to tune in. Here's another thing. If you've been with us since we started 2 years ago, y'all are familiar with the professor. So I've been in contact with the professor. He's going to come back on and he's going to bring his own segment. We're still working on the details, the name of the show. But before it's called Ask the Professor, but he's going to do kind of what Misha is doing and just go in more detail and in depth on some of the topics that we talk about on the Love and Relationship show. So I'm looking forward to him being back on the platform.
Welcome back, Professor.
Yeah. What else we got? And with that being said, it'll probably be alternating Tuesdays with you here on this platform. So. Okay. You should have followed her. Coach Cookie, man, she's out there doing her thing, man. If y'all are looking for fitness tips, how to dance and eat right, and even if you're not in Texarkana, she does it virtually. So just follow Coach Cookie, just what the name says, Coach Cookie on Facebook. Follow her. T Will, man, happy anniversary to the homie Superman
Happy
T Will.
anniversary,
Yeah, 21 years in marriage, man. Bless his union for that. He's out doing 21 days vacation for his
That's
21
what I'm
years.
talking about.
Yeah,
21 days.
great, man. So T Will is usually doing shows on Wednesday, so that's why we haven't seen him last week and not this week as well. So he's out there doing that thing. So again, happy anniversary to Superman T Will and his beautiful wife Jamaica.
That's her name, Jamaica.
Her name is Jamaica. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, T Will too, man. Yeah, Greenwood the podcast. We did our third show this past week. We're doing great things. We tapping in the need to address social issues, and not just complaining about them, but how can we be a benefit to our community by holding ourselves accountable, but also holding our elected officials and educating ourselves, things of that nature right there. So, and we got some great new talent on there, Ladybug and Angela Allen. Got my boy Jack and T Will as part of that platform as well. So, man, we got a lot. We got a lot going on. We want to make sure we provide a little bit of everything for everybody that want to follow us. Again, we're all about community. We want to just make sure we got a platform that gives people a voice, right? That's why the show is called, or the platform is called the Floor is Yours Podcast. We want to hear from you. So be sure that you're reaching out to us. So one more time, those 3 F's, Misha, before we go.
Yourself so that you can forgive yourself and then you can free yourself.
And you can free yourself.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'll be doing classes soon, but until then, let that reside with you, huh?
That's good. That's good. Hey, I tell you people bye, and then we'll see them and hear
something. I don't really want to tell y'all bye, but I'm going to see you next time. And this is what we're going to do. And we're going to have a good time. And I'm going to stay consistent because that's what I got to do. It's a must that I do. I don't got no choice, right? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. But I love y'all. Radiant Flowers, wonderful gentlemen. Hey, I love all of y'all. And I have enjoyed tonight. And I'll be dressing up more, because, hey, I'm IC and I can do this, right?
Love y'all. Tell y'all about my big bro Gerard in the podcast crew. From DJ to realist, Cookie to Professor, and you can't forget about the inspiration shit. They talk about it all, got advice for us all. You'll never know how deep the talks will go. On the weekdays, the weekends, they be going live with the topics. Then they do the segment where the floor is yours. You can post your comments, you can post your statements, yeah. You can ask your questions, They can help you get your life moving in the right direction. If you need advice on marriage, advice on finance, advice on healing, advice on credit, this the podcast that you need to check out. Go ahead and tune in, you'll feel what I'm talking about. Baby, I'ma get the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, I'm in the floor is yours. Baby, come down to the floor is yours. Let me show you how the floor is yours. Hey, the floor is yours. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Peace out.